They doubted you, they laughed at you, they wrote you off before the game even started, and maybe for a while, they were right, because you played small, you hesitated, you let their voices become louder than your own. But there comes a point, a breaking point, when you realize you've been living in the shadow of their expectations, and that shadow has been choking the light out of you, so you decide, no more. No more waiting for permission, no more asking for approval, no more fitting into a box you were never built for. This is the moment you flip the script. This is where you rewrite the story. And you don't just make small changes, you go so far beyond their predictions that your success becomes the loudest revenge. You work when no one's watching. You study when others sleep. You turn your pain into fuel, your setbacks into stepping stones, your failures into a blueprint. And you keep moving even when it's hard, even when it's lonely, even when every single voice around you says you can't, because building the life no one thought you could isn't about proving them wrong. It's about proving yourself right. And one day, you'll stand in the middle of the life you created, not given, not gifted, created, and the same people who doubted you will have no choice but to watch. Because the life you're building, it's not just unexpected, it's undeniable. Break free from other people's expectations. Stop living in the shadow of their opinions. For too long, you've been carrying the weight of what they think you should be. You've been trying to fit into a version of life that someone else designed for you. A life measured by their standards, not yours. Every choice you've made, you've second-guessed, wondering if it will earn their approval. Every dream you've had, you've questioned, wondering if it will make sense to them. But here's the truth: their vision for your life is limited by their own fears, their own insecurities, their own experiences. They can't see the fire burning inside you. They can't feel the pull that wakes you up in the middle of the night. They can't understand the hunger in your soul, because it wasn't given to them, it was given to you. And as long as you keep chasing their approval, you'll keep running in circles, never reaching your own destination. You weren't born to live in someone else's shadow. You weren't built to dim your light just so they can feel comfortable in your presence. The truth is, people will always have something to say. They will judge, they will question, they will doubt, whether you follow their path or your own. So why not follow your own? Why not choose the road that calls your name, even if it scares you? Why not take the leap toward the life that feels like yours, even if they don't understand it? You have one life, one chance to create something real, something raw, something that reflects who you truly are. And you cannot create that by staying trapped in the cage of their opinions. The world doesn't need another copy of someone else's dream. It needs the original version of yours, and that means you have to step into the light. Even if your voice shakes, even if your hands tremble, even if they roll their eyes and tell you you're making a mistake, because the moment you choose your own path is the moment you begin to live. Stop asking for permission or approval. You don't need it to begin. You've been waiting for someone to nod their head. You've been waiting for someone to say, yes, go ahead, you can do it. But the truth is, that moment may never come. People are busy fighting their own battles. Some don't see your vision. Some can't imagine what you're capable of. And some don't want you to move ahead because it reminds them of the risks they never took. If you keep waiting for a green light from others, you'll spend your whole life stuck at the intersection of hesitation and regret. No one gave the greats a permission slip. They didn't stand in line, waiting for a stamp of approval before they started building their dreams. They began when no one believed in them. They began when the odds were stacked high against them. They began when the voices around them said, "Don't do it." And that's the secret: you don't need everyone to believe in you. You don't need the whole world to clap for you. You just need to start, because the act of starting is the act of claiming your power. It's you saying, "I decide, I choose, I move. The people you think you need approval from might not even understand the world you're trying to create. Their vision is limited by their own experiences. If they can't see it, that doesn't mean it's not real. If they don't agree with it, that doesn't mean it won't work. Your dreams were given to you for a reason, not to be negotiated away, not to be diluted until they're acceptable to everyone else. You have to take the first step without a guarantee. You have to start building before you're ready. Because you'll never feel fully ready. You'll never feel completely prepared. And if you wait for approval, you'll be waiting for the rest of your life. So start now. Start before you have all the answers. Start before anyone else understands. Start, because the only permission you truly need is your own. Work relentlessly when no one is watching, because discipline beats motivation every single time. Motivation feels good, but it's temporary. It comes in waves. It can lift you up one moment and vanish the next. Discipline is different. Discipline is the engine that keeps moving even when the excitement is gone. It's what makes you show up when you don't feel like it. It's what makes you keep going when no one is clapping for you. The truth is, most of your progress will happen in the dark. It will happen in the quiet hours when no one is there to cheer you on. When no one notices the sacrifices you're making. When no one sees the small, unglamorous steps you take every single day. That's where the real work lives. Anyone can work hard when the lights are on and the crowd is watching. But the champions, they put in the same effort when the stadium is empty, when there's no applause, when there's no recognition, when it's just them, the grind, and the goal. Because discipline isn't about how you act when you're being watched, it's about what you do when no one would know if you quit. It's waking up early even when you could sleep in. It's staying late to finish when no one would blame you for leaving. It's doing the extra rep, reading the extra page, putting in the extra hour, not because someone told you to, but because you told yourself to. That's how results are built, not through bursts of energy when you're in the mood, but through steady, consistent effort when you're not. Discipline means you don't negotiate with your excuses. You don't wait for the right mood, the right time, or the perfect conditions. You simply show up again and again until showing up becomes who you are. And while motivation might start the engine, discipline is what drives you to the finish line. Because in the end, success belongs to the ones who keep going, even when no one's watching. Turn pain into fuel. Use struggles as the driving force. Life will hit you hard. It will knock the air out of your lungs. It will break you in ways you didn't think were possible. And in those moments, you'll feel like you can't move forward. You'll feel like everything is against you. But pain is not the end. Pain is energy. Raw, unshaped, powerful energy. You can let it crush you, or you can take it and shape it into something unstoppable. Every setback carries a lesson. Every wound carries a message. The moments that hurt you the most can become the very moments that change you the most if you let them. You see, pain can do one of two things. It can break you, or it can build you. It can hold you down, or it can push you forward. It all depends on what you do with it. Some people let pain make them bitter. Others let it make them stronger. When you take your struggles and use them as fuel, you stop seeing them as punishments. You start seeing them as training. Every disappointment becomes a push. Every failure becomes a spark. Every no you've ever heard becomes a reason to keep going until you hear yes. You turn heartbreak into hunger. You turn frustration into focus. You turn rejection into resilience. That's how warriors are made, not by avoiding pain, but by transforming it. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "How can I use this?" Because the truth is, the fire inside you burns hotter when it's fed by struggle. And when you've been through enough storms, you realize the rain no longer scares you, it fuels you. So take the pain you've been given. Take the nights you couldn't sleep. Take the moments you thought you'd break, and let them become the reason you rise. Let them be the power that drives you when everything in you wants to quit, because the greatest victories are often built from the heaviest pain. Transform setbacks into stepping stones. Learn from failures. Life will not hand you a straight path to your goals. It will test you. It will throw obstacles in your way. It will knock you down, sometimes harder than you expected. And, in those moments, it's easy to believe you've lost. It's easy to think the setback is a sign to stop. But a setback is not the end. It's an invitation to grow, to adapt, to see what you're really made of. Every failure is a teacher. Every disappointment is a lesson. You can let them define you, or you can let them refine you. When you treat setbacks as stepping stones, you start to see them differently. You stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What can I take from this?" The most successful people in history have failed more times than most people have even tried. They didn't succeed because they avoided failure. They succeeded because they learned from it. Every time they fell, they got back up with more wisdom than before. They understood that each setback was just one more step closer to the breakthrough. You have to think the same way. When you fail, you gather the lessons. You adjust your strategy, you sharpen your skills, and you keep moving forward. A stepping stone doesn't look like the final destination, but it moves you closer to it. One stone at a time, you cross the water. One lesson at a time, you build the bridge to where you want to go. The road to success is not a straight line. It's built from detours, mistakes, and restarts. And every time you think you've been pushed back, you're actually being positioned for a stronger comeback. So don't fear the failures. Don't run from the setbacks. Use them. Stand on them. Turn them into the very foundation that carries you forward. Because when you learn from every fall, there is no such thing as starting over, only starting again. But this time wiser. Be consistent even when it's hard and lonely, because persistence outlasts doubt. There will be days when nothing goes right, days when the weight of the work feels too heavy to carry, days when you question if any of it is worth it. And sometimes you'll look around and realize no one is there to cheer you on. No one is watching. No one is clapping. It's just you and the grind. This is where most people quit. They stop showing up when it stops feeling exciting. They give up when it gets quiet, when it gets slow, when it gets lonely. But if you want to build something great, you have to keep showing up, especially then. Because consistency isn't about working when it's easy. It's about working when it's uncomfortable. It's about showing up when you're tired, when you're doubting yourself, when the results aren't visible yet. Every day you keep going, you strengthen the muscle of persistence. And persistence is what keeps you moving long after motivation fades. It's what keeps you walking forward even when every step feels like a battle. Doubt will try to slow you down. It will whisper that you're wasting your time. It will remind you of every failure, every rejection, every reason to stop. But doubt has no power over someone who refuses to quit. Persistence is the answer to doubt. It's the voice that says, "I'm still here," when everything else says, "Give up." It's the steady hand that lays brick after brick until the wall is built. It's the quiet courage that keeps you moving, even without applause, because success is not built in the moments of excitement. It's built in the moments when you keep going despite having every reason not to, and when you finally reach the place you've been working toward, you'll realize it wasn't talent alone that got you there. It wasn't luck. It wasn't even motivation. It was showing up, day after day, through the storms, through the silence, through the struggle. Because persistence doesn't just outlast doubt, it outlasts everything that tries to stop you. Make your success undeniable, so powerful that no one can ignore it. In the beginning, they might doubt you, they might laugh, they might roll their eyes and tell you it can't be done. They might pretend not to notice when you take your first steps. And at first, it will be tempting to shout, to explain, to convince them to see what you see. But the truth is, words are cheap. People may dismiss what you say, but they cannot deny what you do. The most effective way to silence doubt is not through argument, but through results. Results so big, so real, so unshakable that even your critics have to acknowledge them. Make your progress impossible to overlook. Let your achievements speak louder than your defense. Work quietly when you have to. Grind in silence when no one is paying attention. Build something so strong that when it finally shows, it commands attention without you having to ask for it. Undeniable success is not built overnight. It's the result of small, consistent actions stacked over time. It's the product of countless early mornings, late nights, and sacrifices no one else sees. It's the courage to keep going when there's no proof yet that it's working. It's the patience to build brick by brick even when the wall still looks incomplete. You don't have to convince anyone in the process. You don't have to defend your vision. You just have to stay committed long enough for the results to show themselves. And when they do, the same people who doubted you will have no choice but to see you differently. They may still not like you. They may still not support you, but they won't be able to ignore you. Because undeniable success has its own gravity, it pulls attention, respect, and recognition toward it. And when you've built something so real, so unshakable, so powerful, the conversation changes. No longer about whether you can do it, but about how you did it. And that is when you realize you never needed their belief in the first place. You just needed to make your success undeniable. Focus on proving yourself right, not proving others wrong. Self-belief first. It's easy to get caught up in the game of proving people wrong, to take every doubt, every insult, every dismissal, and turn it into a mission to show them. But if you're only chasing success to silence others, you'll spend your life chasing shadows. Because the truth is, their opinions will always change. Some will doubt you no matter what you do. Some will never admit they were wrong, even when you've already won. If your fuel is their disbelief, what happens when they stop caring? What happens when their voices fade? You need a reason to keep going that doesn't depend on anyone else. That reason is you, your belief in your own vision, your desire to see what you're truly capable of. When you focus on proving yourself right, the game changes. You stop running toward revenge and start running toward growth. You stop measuring your worth against their expectations and start measuring it against your own potential. And that's when your progress becomes unstoppable, because now you're not working for their applause. You're working for your own standard. You're chasing the life you believe you can build, not the life they think you deserve. Self-belief is the foundation of everything. Without it, every step forward feels shaky. With it, even the biggest obstacles become challenges you know you can handle. When you believe in yourself first, you don't need constant reassurance. You don't need to check if people are watching. You don't need their validation to feel worthy of the dream you're chasing. And here's the thing: when you focus on proving yourself right, you often end up proving others wrong anyway. Not because that was your goal, but because undeniable growth has a way of rewriting the story. So let them think what they want. Let them talk. You have bigger things to do than argue with small minds. Build the life you believe in. Take the risks you trust yourself to handle. And let every win be a reminder that your belief was all the proof you ever needed. Build a life that is created, not handed to you. Take ownership. There is a different kind of pride that comes from knowing you built something with your own hands, your own choices, your own sacrifices, a life that wasn't given to you, a life that wasn't the result of luck or charity, but the result of your vision and your effort. When you take ownership, you stop waiting for someone else to make things happen. You stop blaming circumstances or the past or the people who didn't help you. You realize that while you can't control everything, you can control what you do next. And that choice changes everything. Too many people wait for opportunities to appear. They wait for the perfect time, the perfect chance, the perfect break. But the truth is, the perfect moment rarely comes. You have to create it. You have to take what you have right now and start building, even if it's small, even if it's messy, even if no one else believes in it yet. When you create your life, you decide the direction. You decide the pace. You decide the standards. You no longer live by someone else's rules or depend on someone else's generosity. And yes, it's harder that way. It's easier to accept what's handed to you than to build from scratch. But what's easy rarely lasts. What you fight for, what you invest in, what you pour yourself into, that's what stands the test of time. Ownership means taking responsibility not only for your successes, but also for your failures. It means learning from the mistakes instead of making excuses for them. It means asking yourself every day, am I building the life I want, or just living the life I was given? Because a life that's handed to you will always belong to someone else. But a life you create, that's yours forever, and no one can take it away. So stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for someone to open the door for you. Build the door, and then build the life that waits on the other side. Let the results speak louder than your words. Success is the ultimate statement. You don't have to argue with doubters. You don't have to explain yourself to people who can't see your vision. You don't have to convince the world that you're capable. You just have to show them. Words can be ignored, promises can be doubted, but results are undeniable. When you produce something real, something tangible, something that cannot be faked, even the loudest critics have no choice but to face it. Let your work do the talking. Let your progress answer the questions they've been asking. The truth is, the people who talk the most often achieve the least. They waste energy trying to prove themselves in conversations instead of in actions. But the ones who succeed, they spend that energy building, they work quietly, they prepare in silence, they show up consistently until their results are too big to be overlooked. You don't have to announce every step you're taking. You don't have to broadcast every plan, because real success doesn't need a warning. It arrives and demands attention, and when it comes, it speaks for you in a way words never could. It says you were committed. It says you were disciplined. It says you were willing to do what others wouldn't. It says you turned your vision into reality. People can doubt your words. They can question your dreams. They can challenge your ideas. But they can't erase results that are standing right in front of them. So keep your head down and your work sharp. Stay focused on the outcome, not the argument. Because in the end, you don't need to declare your worth, your achievements will declare it for you. And the day your results speak, they'll say everything you've been wanting to say, only louder, only stronger, only in a way that no one can ignore.